Everybody, how's it going? I wanted to go over how to edit, well, more like how to transfer files and then drop them into the timeline on iMovie if you've recorded stuff on your iPhone specifically. So iMovie is a free software you get on your Mac, and it's perfect for beginner content creators. I love using iMovie because it's really easy to use. And when I do eventually upgrade my computer and my system, I'll probably move to like a Final Cut Pro, just because I enjoy working on the Mac system. So, and everything is integrated. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today is recording. You've already recorded stuff on your iPhone and then you want to transfer it to and get it into the timeline on iMovie, and then we're going to just go over a couple really basic editing tips. So stay tuned if that interests you. Okay. So the first thing to keep in mind is that when you record a video on your phone, it takes a while for it to, especially if you record a lot of content in one day, like maybe you record like 20 or 30 clips in one day, like short clips, kind of like you can see here. These clips take a while to sync from your phone, hope you can see that, to the cloud. So think about that in the timeline as you want to give yourself some time for maybe like a day to leave your phone plugged in and let it upload videos to the cloud so that it syncs to your computer if you don't want to deal with like having to transfer files and plug anything in. So and you don't want to edit from your phone. I like editing from my laptop because it's just easier. It's the fastest way to go for me. But I know people edit on their phone or their iPad and they're successful with it. But it just, for me, it doesn't really, it's just like the little screen, it's just too much. So you'll know when they're synced because you'll go down to your photos and you can click on it, and then you'll be able to see the videos in here once they've synced to your from your iPhone into the cloud, and then you can access them on your iPad, your Mac. I'm on an old MacBook Pro, and also your phone as well. So just something to keep in mind. I filmed some footage about, I think it was like tips on creating YouTube videos for like content creators or something like that. Like that's the footage that we're going to take a peek at today. So I shouldn't have taken that down. Once everything has synced, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go through and pick the clips that you want to edit in iMovie. And I have already dragged them over to my desktop. Another thing to know is that you can't drag these clips in your photos and videos. If they're videos, you cannot drag them directly into iMovie. They have to go to your desktop first and be downloaded to your desktop before you can input them into whatever editing software it is that you're using. Now, if you film on, if you're just doing this mobile, which is what we're talking about, filming from mobile and then editing on a Mac, I used to get confused, like, what were the file numbers and how did it work? Like, how do I input these images into the order that I need, so to make sure that they stay in the order that I filmed them in. And what I realized was if you look at the file numbers, it's like 1933, then 1934, 1935, and 1936. So what you can do is just start with 1933 and then drag that into the timeline, and then you'd go 1934. So that would be your second in the timeline. So they go from smallest to largest and they order them for you, which is nice, 1935. And then you just, all you do is once you've moved them to your desktop and they've downloaded, and it may take a little while, then you can move them over into your timeline in iMovie. And all you would do for that, let's name this really quick, the YouTube basics. So I've already created a movie for that, but in order to get the timeline, you would click on create new, and then you would click on movie, and then this is what you'll see. And then you can drag your stuff from your timeline in, but remember you need to download it from your photos directly to your desktop and then into iMovie. If you import it, if you try to bring it over directly from photos, like click and drag from photos into iMovie, it'll just download a screen capture of an image. It won't be the full video. So that's something I noticed when I tried to do exactly that when I was first getting started editing. So, okay, so let's go back to iMovie, and then this doesn't have anything in it, so just click OK, and then we can delete that. And then we'll go back into this one that I've created. So you can see here, if we watched this through, it would be 7 minutes and 36 seconds. And then here, over here, if you want to see a longer layout of the clips, you click right here and you drag this little button to the right and you'll see it gets bigger and bigger, and then the timeline does. So you can get a nice look at, you know, you can see where the audio, you can see the audio, and then you can drag along and then, you know, take a look at where there might be like dead spots. So like here, for example, it's where you can cut out dead spots. And if you want to use a keyboard shortcut, it would be to like split a clip. It would be Command and then the letter B. So let me show you. That way you don't have to like right click and then hit, if I wanted to split this clip, let's say there's some dead space there. And then let's say I wanted to undo that. I could undo that split and then it would put it back together. So we're just talking about basic edit to take out this little like area where there's no audio, so there's probably nothing happening. You can see the audio level here, and then you can see it goes down, and then you can just see the audio pattern as you go across. So one thing I like to do is I like to start with a transition. So I will click on fade to black, and then I'll actually put that in front of the first clip. That way it just kind of has a little bit of an opening. Let me show you. So then it's got a little bit of an opening versus just it opens up and it's me. It gives just a little bit of a dramatic opening versus it, like I said, it just starting out and being me. So you can see there, I could cut that. It's that little bit of a break. So I could do Command B, and then select it with your mouse and then just hit the delete button and it's gone. So then let's take a look at what that looks like. So that's a little choppy. Maybe I would want to leave that in there. So then I could just do undo delete, and then I could do undo split, and then you can see I still have the split there, so I'd want to do undo split again. And you don't have to, let's see, you can see all the keyboard shortcuts up here. If you're wanting to get to editing faster, to speed up your editing time, learn the different shortcuts. At least learn Command B, and delete. That's like, those are the fastest for editing along your timeline. And I've made the mistake, let me show you, of editing things that are a little bit like, maybe I shouldn't. I tried cutting out all my breaths and it didn't work. Let me show you. Here's a good example. So I haven't released this, but at one point when I was editing, I started to edit out all my breaths. Like I would go through and I would expand the timeline, and I would cut like any place that there was a dip in the audio. And it just makes it really choppy, and it can be choppy for your viewer. I'd heard a tip to cut out all your breaths on YouTube videos when you're editing, and like, here's what it looks like. And it's a little bit too fast for the viewer, I think. Let's see. Let me go to a different video. How I named this? Here, you can see in the beginning, it's just a little bit choppy. And it's okay in moderation, I think. That's my tip. But it can get really distracting. Here we go. You can see all these clips. These were not individual clips. This was like one long rambling video that I did, and when I edited it, it came out really choppy. So watch. And I posted this on my coaching channel on YouTube. So watch this. See how choppy that is? So give yourself a little bit of space. You don't need to cut out every single breath like I did here. So the audio sounds choppy. There are missing, kind of like little missing pieces. It's like, here's another good example. It's just harder for your viewer, and they're more likely to click off. And with YouTube videos, we want them to stay on for as long as possible. That's why I've actually gone back to kind of my old editing style, where I give myself a little bit more room to breathe, because trying to implement the tip of cut out all your breaths, it just makes it really choppy, and I found I didn't like that. And it's like, I was so obsessed with cutting out every breath. It would take me a while to edit. The video would take me longer, but it would also it didn't give my viewer any time to watch my facial expressions, or me take like a pause and think. Like, there's something about, the face, especially in these YouTube videos where it's mostly a talking head, where you're the main source of you're the only focal point of entertainment. So watching your facial expressions during pauses, kind of like right here, you can see on the timeline, the audio goes down, but you can see I'm very expressive in my face right there. So whereas I would have cut that in the past, honestly, I probably would just leave it going forward. So there are some places where it does make sense to cut it, but then there are also places where you can get it to the point like I did on my other YouTube videos, where it was almost too choppy. So that's just an editing tip. So let's start. We talked about adding the intro, and we're going to talk a little bit, just a few other editing tips. And that's another thing too, is so you can hit the pause button right here, and then you can stop it. And then if you hit play again, what do they call this? The playhead, I think they call it, will go forward, and it'll go past. And if you go past where you can see it, because it doesn't keep it in the screen. But what you can do is you can hit pause and play. You can toggle between those, and then it'll take you back to where you can see it on your screen, the playhead. So if I hit pause, then it'll bring me to the point where it's at, and then I can hit, Control V or Control B if I wanted to split that clip. So you can also click and you can click and drag the playhead around. You can take it through, take it back, take it forward. Let's keep going with this edit. Okay, so like right there, let's take this back and then hit play. So there's that dead space in there. I'm probably gonna, in fact, I am gonna cut that out. There we go. So that's just a little bit too long of a pause. So I'll hit Control B, Control, where do I want it? Maybe there. And you can see that the piece we've cut out, it's 0.7 seconds. And all you do is click on it, and then you can hit the delete button on your keyboard, and it's gone. So then let's rewatch the clip, or where we made the cut. So it's not too jumpy. We haven't been jumping around a lot like in the other videos I showed you, where not only does the video jump around, it's fortunate in those other videos I showed you where I cut out every breath that I was pretty much talking in the same place, like I wasn't moving around like I am here. So this cut won't be too jarring to the viewer. And I don't need to add what would it be, a transition here. I would use that for like if I was going to go to the next point in the video, but I'm still kind of filming the intro here, so we'll keep going. Now, one other thing I could do is I could click right here if I wanted to get that little bit out. Sometimes you can trim it there, so you can click and drag on either side of the split that you made. So this split, you'll notice here, when it has this symbol, that means it's a transition. The two little play buttons like pointing towards each other. And then we go along the timeline and we'll go back to where we were. And then this just means, this horizontal line just means it's going to run from one cut into the other. So it'll be a little bit of a jump cut, but that's okay. I mean, it's just, I don't want to say it's just YouTube, but I mean, we're not on cable or anything here, so we're not filming prime time. We're just doing a basic edit. So this is perfectly fine to do. So let's see how that turned out after we trimmed it. So that's better. That's a lot better actually, because you don't have that pause in there. And then trimming it just a little bit closer gets you in, so there's not as much of a pause with the audio. So let's go along and let's just keep watching and see what else we come up with. So like the playhead got a little bit far. I don't have a huge monitor on this Mac, so I do this toggle with it says play space bar. Let's see. Okay, so the other thing you can do instead of toggling with your mouse, that's just a habit I've gotten into, is you can hit the space bar as another way to, like a keyboard shortcut, is hit the space bar to play and to pause. So that's another keyboard shortcut for you. So let's take that back again. So I say a lot. So I might trim that out. And you can see, watch, if you go really slowly along here, I split the clip there where I start to look down, and then there's no audio, and I'm fixing my hair, and then really slow as I pan along here with the playhead, you can see me say So let's just cut that there, because I know it's dead time and it's an And you don't have to cut out all of your ums. Don't feel like, if you say and like and that's a normal part of our language, and your viewer isn't going to care if you say a few times, or maybe more than a few times in your video. Because cutting out all the ums can seem a little bit jarring too, depending on what you're filming. And if you're unscripted like this, that's another thing to consider, is it makes it harder to edit. So if you can come up with like a pre-planned, just an outline of a script, that is very helpful for keeping you on track and making your video a lot easier to edit. But it makes it a lot harder in post to edit whatever it is that you filmed, because you don't have a succinct story line or like different points where you make, like, you have your intro and then your your hook and your testimonial, and then you make your bullet points. You maybe do a call to action, do another 2 bullet points, and then your another call to action, and then your outro. So this is a very random set of clips of me pretty much just babbling, where I had a loose idea of what I wanted to say, but it makes it easier when I start, because I know like kind of where I'm going with this. And then in the other clips, like I said, they're totally random, so it makes it a lot harder to edit in, like I was saying, in post, if you don't stick to some kind of a basic timeline, because you'll have a lot more ums. And I'm not telling you to use a teleprompter app. You don't have to do that, but just having a basic outline on like the notes app on your phone, and then edit instead of doing one long take. Filming in shorter clips will be easier for you in post, because you won't have this long rambling mess to try to edit through and try to make sense of. So that's just I hate to say a mistake I've made, but that's something I've learned through as I've edited my own videos, because I edit all my own videos. It's like, wow, this is like an hour of footage to wade through, and it's me talking and me trying to cut out the pauses, the ums, the likes, the like those sounds, plus me trying to figure out what is the outline and what am I actually saying in this video. And it also makes it, if you don't follow at least if you follow an outline, you'll have a much easier time knowing like what keywords you want to target, and also like how to create your show notes, because you'll have a basic structure that you can use to write your show notes out. This is very random, so I'm actually writing. I keep where is it? Apple Notes up sometimes when I'm editing, and I'll go back through and listen to my video, and then I'll type up notes on what I was saying, so that I know what to write down for my show notes. So just that's another tip to keep in mind. So when you see me say like it's gorgeous outside, like you can tell that I'm not reading from the script anymore. So, and then knowing me, I just went off script. So that's something I'm trying to work on in my YouTube videos going forward, to make my editing life a lot easier, since I'm still like a one-woman show at this point. And, doing this all on my own. I'm still a solopreneur, and I have multiple channels. So I want to make my life as easy as possible. And and through the lessons I've learned, I want to help you make your life as easy as possible too. So we can all benefit from one another's mistakes. So that's so that I will cut. So Command B. Click delete. So what I've been doing is just adding some different transitions in here for the viewer. So just to let them know, like and it lets me know too, as I'm editing, that I'm switching from one point to another. So it's just a little transition in the timeline. There are multiple you can pick from in iMovie under the transitions tabs, but it just kind of lets the viewer know. It breaks it up just a little bit, and it lets them know that we've kind of switched from one topic to the other. So let's watch that really quick. So I could cut here. I'm going to leave that in. I will cut, there's just a little bit of a pause that I'm not loving. So 0.6 seconds. Let's see. And that transitioned very nicely. It's not jumpy at all. So let's go. So there's another one, but again, you can see my facial expression. So there's another low point in the audio, so I'm not going to cut that. So this is about 10 seconds, this split clip that we're going to lose. So delete, go back. So now with that gone, it's actually not so bad. So let's see if we got rid of that, what this looks like. Now that's not so bad. It's a little bit of a cut, so we could put a transition in there to make it a little bit easier for the viewer to notice that we're transitioning from kind of one point to the other. So here I meant to say if you're going out in your car and you're not going to get out of your car. So to make that a little bit clearer for people who are watching if I upload this when they're watching, I like to put in a title like pull focus is like a really good one because it'll pull the focus from you. Let's click. So all you do is click with your left mouse button and drag that onto the timeline. It doesn't matter where you drop it if you're not exactly sure, because you can adjust it by moving it side to side by clicking and dragging it. You can also go over here and adjust the there we go, adjust the length. I have some stuff going on in the background on my computer, like uploading and downloading, so that's why it might be a little bit laggy. So you can see you can adjust that. And then the title, if you click on it, you can go in here and put something like, hold on, let me see where I actually say it at, and then we'll just do it there. That way you can see directly. So probably right there, because it's really unclear what I'm saying here. Like even to me, it's like, what the heck was I talking about? So where it says title and subtitle, that's where you're going to put your text. So I would say something like, on your keyboard type, like going out in your car, and maybe in all caps, and not getting out of your car. Just so the viewer has some idea of like, okay, like I wasn't crazy. If I don't want to go back and like say re-record this, this is a nice way to tell the viewer what, like, just to clarify it. And I'll do that a lot in my videos when I post, if something's not clear, like this is a really nice way to let the viewer know. Now, if you extract the audio from your iMovie and then use it to put in as a podcast, then you might want to record something over this, because there's nobody that's going to be watching. If they're listening only, they're not going to be able to see the title that you put up on the screen. So you might have to record a small clip in order to insert it and clarify what you meant. Whereas here they can just see it on the screen. So let's go back and watch how that goes. Yeah, so that works. That's good. That's a good place for that. Let's maybe just make it a hair longer. And one thing you can do, like, you can adjust, like, let's get rid of this. You can take stuff out if you don't like it and still have it under that timeline. It won't affect that. So here we're like 4 minutes and 31 seconds into the video, and I'm still trying to show you like the intro, like, right, like who films the intro at 4 minutes and 31 seconds into the video, or kind of re-mentions it. But it sounds like an intro, so that's another reason why you might want to stay on task with a outline, not necessarily a script. I really do think that the script can kind of take away your magic, but at least it keeps you an outline, at least keeps you on topic, and it helps you avoid these problems of like, oh, I said something like that in the beginning of the video, like why am I saying it again 4 minutes and 31 seconds in? And if it was like, because you heard me say like, so stick with me, because like that is something you'd put in the intro. That's not something you just say in the middle of the video, because if the viewer's watching, they've stuck with you. So just again, something else to note for when if you film videos. So I'll probably actually cut that, the whole, so stick with me, because, but let's take it to the end of this. Oh, this is the next clip. So we're at the end of the first clip that I dragged in here. So this was file 19 image-1933. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Whoop. So I wanted, that's what we're talking, I wanted at least to keep about in. So we'll extend this a little bit more forward and see. Maybe just, if I have to keep today in, then I will. That's not bad. And then we switch to the bathroom where I'm putting on my sunscreen. Well, I don't put it on, but I tell you I'm going to put it on. So if we did keep this, we'll switch back to transitions. We'd want to definitely transition there so the audience is like, and I'm just choosing kind of like the spin out one, so I'll drop it there. And you can also adjust how long, I don't know if it'll let me, yeah. You can apply like how long you want the transition to be. If you don't want it and then can't figure out how to get it out, you can take it to 0 or half a second, but I'll just leave it at a second. So let's watch that. So I'm not sure what happened to today. Let's see. So sorry, just adding out another transition really fast. So I mentioned Noble running sneakers. That's a brand name, so I probably should put not sponsored, just so we don't get any copyright strikes. Let's just drag that onto the timeline and then see. Let's go back to the beginning of this clip. Let's split that. And then, because I know I say wear comfortable shoes twice, so I want to see how that ends up. I cannot say this enough. Okay. Like you already said it once, girl. Wear comfortable shoes, wear comfortable shoes. Okay. I could just leave it at that. Just leave this clip short. Okay, so wear comfortable shoes. Hold on. So you can see in the audio, we're going to cut it right here. Let me make sure. Okay, these are addressed. So we'll cut that. Let's make this just a hair longer. And then let's cut this just a hair in. Okay, so where I mentioned the brand name, I'm going to bring this over and put not sponsored or affiliated. And then up here where it says 4 seconds, that's how long it'll stay on the screen for. So if we don't want 4 seconds, then we can adjust that. So if you want to add text on your screen, you would do that with titles. You've got a lot of different titles here that you can choose from. And then if you want to go, you can toggle between these to do transitions. Let's just do like a swap. So it's not really clear who Monster is. Monster is my dog, so one of my dogs. So let's go back to titles, and then let's do another pull focus. Monster is a nickname for my dog. Her real name is Casey. So I mentioned Monster there. So I want to move this, so I'll just click it and move it a little bit over here. So if that's enough time, this is what I go by for timing on the screen. That's enough time for me to read it, and I am a very slow reader. So if I can read it and I can make sense of it while I'm watching the clip, then that should be adequate for other viewers. You don't want to leave this up too long, but you want to give people enough time to be able to read what's on the screen, especially if they don't know it's coming. So like nobody knows that this is coming until it pops up on the screen. So let's let it play. Monster is a nickname for my dog. Her real name is Casey. Like I was able to read that while out loud while it was happening. So I could extend it a little longer, but I'm not going to. So yeah. So like 4 seconds seems to be a good time. It depends on what you're saying, on what you need to put in to clarify, if you need to put anything at all. And again, there are other ways you can input info. So let's keep going. Okay, so one other tip. So this is pretty much what I've decided is this is going to be like a mishmash of tips. So, and again, like you really shouldn't be deciding that like 5 minutes into your video, but it seems like that's what this is. So, and I know I recorded other tips that I had, so I could just keep this going. But again, it doesn't really flow with the intro of the video. So if you want your viewer to like stay tuned throughout and be able to relate to the story and follow it, again, that's another case for a scripted video versus just, or a script outline versus just, you know, like you make your point, you tell a little story, and then you move on to the next point, so that the point is what you say, and then you can tell a quick story. That's kind of how I like to do it, or give an example, and then, you know, stop recording, look at your notes, and then say like the first bullet point, try to learn it, say it, and then tell your little story. And that's where you can be a little bit more animated without, you know, repeating yourself, but you still keep order to your video. I keep repeating myself on this because like it's a lot, like I said, it's just a lot harder to edit. So I'll keep going. Hold on. Okay, so one other thing. Okay, so we'll cut it there. Put in a transition. iMovie, if you have an older Mac, iMovie can get a little bit slow if you're doing stuff in the background. So if it gets a little bit laggy, that might be why. Like if it takes a while to drag something down, or you see that colorful wheel of death, then if you've got stuff processing in the background and you've got an older computer, especially, I don't have a lot of space. Yeah, this started at 200 gigs yesterday. I edited a video, it was at 138 gigs, and now it's down to like 15 because of all the processing that's going on in the background, plus the rendering files on here. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background when you're editing on your computer, so your storage may change based on that, like what you've got going on. So just, I don't know, just something to note if you struggle, especially if you struggle with storage. And if you're on your computer and if you're doing a lot of video editing work, you probably will struggle with storage issues. Because keep in mind, like, I'm editing this, but I'm also recording this Loom video as a tutorial. And then I've got videos downloading in the background from my SD card. So plus the computer's, you know, rendering this as we go through it and edit it. So there's kind of a lot going on just for the computer too. Okay, so we've reached the end of the clips that I dragged in here. So we've edited these 4 clips over here, and let's just say we made it to the end of the video. So, because I just want to show you, like, I have more points in my video that I'm probably going to drag in here to keep this going. But let's just say, for the sake of this tutorial, that we've reached the end of the video. So what I would do is I'm going to add in so I did my outro videos over. So I'm going to put in another transition, a fade to black. And then what I want to keep in mind is that if I'm going to upload this to YouTube, which that's the plan, just like YouTube tips, this YouTube tips video, sorry, is I want to record some kind of, or want to have some kind of an end screen. So a very basic way you can do this is, I'll show you what I do. It's not the most professional thing, but like, it gets me by. So the end screen is the last 20 seconds from where the video ends. So you've got 1 here, 1 second here for the fade to black, and then you've got 20 seconds here. Now you can do something more professional than this. You can do whatever you want, but this is the point where we want to make this 19 seconds. This is the point, the last 20 seconds of the video is what's called your end screen. So we're at 11 seconds, we need 19 plus the fade out. Is you get 20 seconds to put up any related 19 seconds. So 19 plus the fade to black. So you can record something here in this last 20 seconds. This is where it pops up and it says, you know, like, you can subscribe, you can click this video to watch next, or click this playlist. There are options that you can click in YouTube. But it's basically you keeping the viewer on the channel for longer. So you can put like your social media handles here. Just think of stuff in the last 20 seconds of the video. If you want to record something, you could say, like, you know, thanks for watching, and in this, you know, if you want to watch more, check out this video here, and you can point, because there's a video that will pop up on there's an option to where you can recommend 2 videos, or you can recommend a playlist, a subscribe, and a video. It depends on what you want to do within YouTube, and that's what you do in YouTube. But you can add stuff in here for your end screen to get ready. So one thing I do is I have this little, wait, let's put in first, hold on. So we added, I want a background because I want some stuff to pop up. So these are the different backgrounds you can choose from in iMovie. And then we extend it out for the 19 seconds, 20 with the 1 second transition for the end screen. And then we go to titles. And then we're going to scroll down to cloud. And then drag that onto the timeline. And then drag it over to last to match the duration of 19 seconds. And then what it does is it's text, and you can, what I usually do if I didn't film, because I usually forget to film my end screen, so what I'll do if I do forget is I'll put a website, and then I'll put my website. And then this will be at the bottom as it plays through. You might want to add some music if you want, or some kind of sound, so that it's at least pleasant for the viewer as they watch, if they haven't clicked off yet, as they watch this. And then what I do is, I'm not going to show you how, but I create this little graphic in Canva, and then I make sure it's got a transparent background, and that's only something you can do in Canva Pro. So something else to keep in mind, Canva Pro is a monthly subscription, so I think it's like $13 or $14 a month. And what we're going to do is we want this to stay up, because we want the viewer to know to watch this video next. Like, they know that they have some kind of an option. Click on that, because we want it up the whole time, same as this and same as the little clouds that pop up. Now we click on that so it's highlighted, and then we go to cutaway, where it says cutaway, and you want to choose picture in picture. And then this little thing that we dragged in, it's just a little image I have on my, just a little PNG file that I keep on my desktop because I use it a lot when I edit. I always put this in, and then you can adjust the size. We want to keep it small because I know that when I go to upload this video to YouTube, everything's going to go in the middle here. So I want something at the bottom and something up here. And like I said, you could put like some copyright free music from YouTube if you wanted. You could drag it down here onto the timeline. I'm not, that way they have some, the viewer has some music while they listen to this, but then this is what it'll look like without music. So pretend this is the end of the video, and then that's what pops up at the end. And then in YouTube, you'd add your suggested video, your subscribe, your playlist, whatever you want to link to keep the viewer on the platform. And you can hear it's just silence, so as it plays along for the last 20 seconds. So like, you could record yourself saying that, you know, like, watch this video here and point to the right, this video here points to the left. And then when you add it in iMovie, or in YouTube, then you'll add those videos where you point. So that's a different process, but this is perfectly fine if you just want to put this up. You don't have to add music, or if you don't have music, don't worry about it. I don't have music, so let's put this. Sometimes you have to add this part a few times to get it to stick, and I'm not quite sure why. If you know, let me know in the comments down below. So this is for, actually no, this isn't for Sarah Dalton Coaching. This is for a different site. This is going to be for SarahAthlete.com. Okay. So, and you know, what's funny is I don't have any other videos recorded. So that's something else to notice too. Like, make sure if you have multiple channels like I do, this is for my Sarah Athlete site, not for Sarah Dalton Coaching. I've gotten so used to recording for that or my plant channel that it's like, So I would still put this in, and then I might just put like the subscribe and then let the thing pop up, because I don't have any other videos yet. Like, this will be the first, probably one of the first videos I post. But once you do get videos, then you'll have this nice option of being able to recommend something for your viewer to keep them watching your content and keep them on the platform. So that's the goal with YouTube, is to either keep the viewer watching your content or keep them on the platform watching other people's content as long as possible. So you either want to suggest, I could make a playlist and put it up here in the end screen of other people's videos that I like, that I could recommend. That way, at least if they don't watch, if the viewer doesn't watch any other content that I have, at least they will stay on the platform and keep watching. So just another tip. So that's it for a very, very basic edit using iMovie. I didn't do anything with audio today because I wanted to just focus on the actual edit itself, but there are tricks you can do with the audio. You can detach it and faded in, faded out. Again, I'm not going to talk about that because I don't want to. And there's a lot you can do with just this basic tool, and it's free on Mac software, so on the Mac computer. So it's great if you're just starting out and you have no idea on how to edit. Watching a few tutorials online will help you immensely, and I hope that this helps you immensely. And that's let me show you actually how to share it. So if I wanted to export this video, if I want to get it up on YouTube from iMovie, I would go to File, Share. I'm not going to share it to YouTube. I want to download this to my computer. So I would go to File. Okay. Let me change the settings. I extracted the audio on another file. So, and that is something you can do if you have a podcast, or you think that this would be good content for somebody to listen to. You can extract the audio from the video and then put the audio up on your podcast. So that's another tip for distribution purposes. But if you're doing it for YouTube, you want to go to File, Share. I can't remember. File, Share, File, and then this is what it'll look like when it pops up. And then you can choose. This computer only goes up to 4K, so you could choose 4K. If you do choose 4K, if you look here, you can see the file size. So if I choose 4K, it'll go up to like 2.41 gig from 1080p, which is high def, like almost a gig. So the file size, if you're worried about space, file size matters. This was all shot on my iPhone, so I can do 4K if I want. Also, the larger the file size, the longer it's going to take to download and upload. So you can all I'm saying is you can decide what resolution you want. Minimum, I would do 1080p or 4K if you want to kind of future-proof yourself if you have the space. You can choose audio or video and audio. This is a YouTube video, so we want both. I'm not going to change any of that. You can choose, if you want like ProRes, that makes this go from from like almost a gig at 4K or at 1080p to, if we did ProRes, it would be with 1080p, it would be 7 gigs. And then if we did 4K at ProRes, it's like a 28 gig file. So you kind of have to ask yourself, like I don't want this to take up that would take forever to upload to YouTube and download to the computer. So where are we at on space? 6.5 gig free. That's another thing to keep in mind too, is how much space you have. So this could take a long time to download if you don't have a lot of space. So I am going to just do 1080p, and I'm going to do it at high. And then I always choose better quality instead of faster, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference in the file size. And since that's less than a gig, I'll hit next, and then what'll happen is it'll take me to where I want to where I can name it. And then so I have a folder on my computer. I need to make a new one since this is for a different channel, but I would create a folder, and then I would put name it what it's going to be called, and then save it. And then as you save it, it'll take a little bit of time. There'll be like a circle up here, and when it's like a circle with a black background and a white outline. When the circle is all white, that means that your video is downloaded, and you'll get a notification saying that your video has been exported. And then from there, you would go find your video wherever you saved it, and then you'd go to YouTube Studio and then upload your video there. So that's that's it. That's how you, I'm going to add more to this video, so I'm not going to export it, but that's the process that you would go through. If you need to capture an image, like if you didn't record an image for your thumbnail, um, you could also do that here by you drag along the timeline. Like, let's say you want to import this into Canva, me probably holding a Neutrogena thing, and you forgot, because sometimes I forget to film like a pose for my end screen as well. Not end screen, sorry. I forget to film for my thumbnail. So, and I make my thumbnails in Canva. So it could be me like walking along, talking. That's kind of cute. So if I click on, let's just for an example use that. So I'm smiling, I look cute there. I can always remove the background in Canva, but what I would do is, if that's the image I want to use, put your playhead where you want it to capture the image. Go to File, Share, Image, name it whatever you want to name it, and then it'll save it as like it's either a JPEG or a PNG file. I can't remember, a PNG file. And then you can put that into Canva, and then you can you know, edit it and make a thumbnail if you forgot to, say, record yourself in some cute pose, you know, while you're filming your video. So just another option that you have. So there you go. There's just a very basic tutorial on how to create a video using iMovie and using footage that you recorded from your iPhone, and some basic things to keep in mind. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.